In addition to our great policy updates and this opportunity for you all to get engaged with Family First, we have something big to reveal for all of you. And so with that, I am going to pass it to Chloe, who's going to start sharing this exciting new resource.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I'm so excited to be sharing this new parent resource with you. This resource is a book club guide for parents that allows them to talk about their life experiences and how it relates to their everyday reading, parenting while reading What Happened to You by Dr. Bruce Perry and Oprah Winfrey. When I first started working with the Alliance on my capstone project for graduate school, I never imagined this would be the result of my project and that it would benefit as many people as it already has. Studying community and social change, I've always cared about communities as I experienced firsthand how influential community support can be. A goal of this guide was to make it as adaptable as possible for a variety of different users. This resource can be used in a variety of ways, including individually, in small groups, large groups, and conference settings. Each chapter includes chapter summaries, discussion questions, reflection journal pages, and coloring pages. And all of this is possible to the incredible work of Dr. Perry and Oprah Winfrey. Today, we have Dr. Perry joining us to share a little with you. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Perry. Welcome.
It's my pleasure. I'm happy to be here. I have to say, I was incredibly impressed when I saw the hard work that was put into this incredible resource. I'm just, we had some of the people in our organization put together a tiny little version of this, of a book study for educators. And we thought it was all kind of cool and that we did a nice job. And then we saw yours and we're like, oh my gosh, you make us look like a bunch of amateurs. It's beautiful. It's so well put together. I'm very impressed and I can't wait to share it with people in our network. I know it will be really, really helpful. One of the things that I think was so amazing about it is the drawings and the ability to kind of color in your own version of of your study guide. I think it'll be fun for lots of people. Now, I know some people, may not like to do that, but it's amazing how many people find coloring regulating. And I think that will be a really positive part of this book study. So I just want to say thank you for doing this. We'll support you in any way that we can in distributing it and letting people know about it. But it's a tremendous opportunity to basically stimulate conversation with other people about their own lives and about their own challenges and their own successes and all kinds of things. And that was the real intent of this book. When Oprah and I talked about this, some of you may not know this, but Oprah is very much about, intention. What is the intention of the act? What is the intention of this show? What is the intention of whatever it is that you're creating or producing or writing? And our intention was to get as many people as possible to start talking about these things, and really to reach people who would not otherwise easily get exposed to these ideas. If you go, for example, if you go to a regular school of social work, or you walk into a child welfare system, or go to a mental health clinic, most people know about trauma and they've heard about it and they've gone to conferences. But what we really wanted to do is reach parents and reach people who, might be a little bit intimidated by some of the more academically written content out there that really makes people feel uncomfortable, and it's a little overwhelming at times. And I have to say, there are some overwhelming parts in this book. You know, there's a lot there is some science in there, and there are some really intense stories, but we've tried to create a rhythm to the way we wrote it so that there's a little bit of intensity and then we kind of back off a little bit, and then there's a little bit of science, and then we almost compartmentalize it. You know, the way we took the images, and you know, if you're sort of overwhelmed by that, you don't really have to pay that much attention to them and still get something out of the book. And so what I thought was really nice about the book study was that you dissected out parts of each chapter that were completely digestible and accessible to everybody. And you didn't dwell on sort of the more academic stuff. And so that for me, that was one of the nicest things about what you did with the book study. So thank you for this opportunity. I'm happy to be here with you guys. And I'm just looking forward to hearing feedback from people about their experience using the study guide.
Thank you so much, Dr. Perry. I cannot tell you how much it means to the Alliance team and to the parents who are going to be sharing with you today that you are here and a part of the big reveal of this resource for communities. And so to bring our network up to speed, how this all came to be is it started with our Georgia Parent Advisory Council that some of you on previous BPNN webinars have heard from. And with the Georgia Parent Advisory Council, they knew it was important not only to take time to have a parent advisory council, but more importantly, to find unique ways to help build the skills and leadership of their council. What I appreciated is one of the creative ways they came up with was saying, you know what, let's take the opportunity to order our pack a book that would have exactly what you were just talking about, Dr. Perry, that academic piece, that piece of really talking about and addressing trauma and resiliency, and let's give it as a tool and resource to our pack. And so the Alliance is helping to support their work and purchase that book and sent it on to the pack. And then we had the opportunity of Chloe joining our team and just so happened to stop by a bookstore and picked up this book and very excitedly came and said, I'm working on my capstone and I think this needs to be the book. And we're like, okay, well, let's see. Georgia PAC just bought this. I wonder if you could help us with maybe creating a space for the PAC. So that way, not only do they have the book, they have an opportunity to really unpack the book. They have the opportunity to have a space that's safe, comfortable, warm, and inviting, where we can come together and really explore what we're reading, what we're thinking about. And so the Georgia PAC had an awesome opportunity to start kind of helping us with what we call the birth of the book club. And so when we thought about doing this, it was important that, as we all know, you can't just have things that are dreams. All of us on the Birth Parent National Network and who plug into the Birth Parent National Network, we all dream big. But what we learned, and I think what our Georgia PAC members learned alongside us, is the importance of documenting the process. And so the book club guide that you all are going to get first access to today, it is live on our website with its very own page, is now going to be available for all of you to use. But I don't want you to just hear from it from our perspective at the Alliance or Dr. Perry's perspective as the author. I want to give you the opportunity to hear from some of the Georgia PAC members themselves. This first PAC member that I'm going to ask to share was unfortunately not able to be in the presence of us today due to a conflict. And so I said, you know what? We don't let conflict stand in the way of getting parent voice out there. So guess what? We're going to do a recording. So here is my dear friend, Erin.
My name is Erin Thomas, and I am a member of the Parent Advisory Council here in Georgia. When we first started the book club, I was a little bit apprehensive and I wasn't sure what to expect because there was a broad variety of people who joined us. And once I got to know each individual that was participating in the book club, I was able to kind of take off all of the hats that I wear and just be myself. I was able to start to bond with the other parents and really just start to become honest with myself about the things that were going on in my life. And by feeling safe in that space and becoming vulnerable, I was able to change some things about the way that I interacted with others, with the way that I interacted with my own family, and also with the way that I viewed myself and my past. There were some things in my past that I wasn't proud of and that I held a lot of guilt and shame for. But once I was able to really process through the book and go chapter by chapter with the other peers in my group, I was able to release some of that shame. I was able to accept some of the things that had happened. And most importantly for me, I was able to change the way it affected my future. So by having the chance to really get to know myself and get to know other parents in the group, I would say that, if someone else were encouraged to participate or had the opportunity to maybe start their own book club, I would say go for it. This has been one of the most impactful, one of the most memorable, one of the most transformative groups that I've been a part of. And having the privilege to get together with other people and to walk through this amazing book has really just been transformative. It's changed my life. It's changed the way that I interact with others. And it's just really changed the way that I see myself.
And so that is Erin sharing a little bit about book club, but we do have two amazing Georgia PAC members
So
here
my name
today.
is
And the first one that I would like to invite to share is Samantha. Samantha, would you be willing to share a little bit about your book club experience and what you would want the network to know?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I'm so glad to be here and just to talk with you a little bit about my experience. So as you heard from Erin, for me, the group became a safe haven for us to share our experiences without judgment or ridicule. It didn't matter what the title was that you held at your job or work location. The participation, it helped me to build trust, and it helped me form a path to opening communication between generations within my family of learned behaviors at a time when we're dealing with COVID and we tend to drift apart. You know, these last 2 years have been very chaotic for a lot of us, and there's certain issues within families that you want to stay hush hush. You don't want to talk about it. But this book gave me the firmness to stand on what it was that I wanted to have an understanding about. It helped me unpack my baggage, but it also helped me to understand that no matter how many cultural competency trainings we attend, we're never going to become experts of another's culture, whether it be a work culture, race or ethnic culture, or a geographical area. Um, this was more than just understanding my own individual trauma, but having a critical conversation without clinical terminology. It was about understanding the people that I entrust my life to daily, medical authority figures, law enforcement, and the individuals that I entrust the lives of my family and friends to daily. And it helped me to remember and solidify that I am not broken. And today I want you to know, those that are participating, you are not broken. You are not a product of your rejection, but you are a resilient, powerful being unpacking what you have learned. And I hope that all of you go back and share it with the world to empower another. It helped me to find my voice and to empower not only my next door neighbor, but from the state to the White House. So if you're looking for an opportunity to grow, transform, and you want something that's going to give you that push to finish, this is definitely the book. And it's really helped me make some great partnerships and talk with individuals that I never would have thought would be interested. I mean, law enforcement, talking with law enforcement and saying, hey, have you taken the time to ask those that are in your capacity what made them want to go into that career? Talking to those in the medical field, and how do those triggers and trauma show up when they're helping the lives of others? So that's pretty much how it's impacted me, and I've had a great experience.
Samantha, thank you for all that you do. I can tell from the hearts and the emojis that are like flashing up all over the place. Your words really resonated, and I hope you're seeing all of the amazing comments in the chat. You all, this is Georgia PAC sharing from their heart, because from day one, every single one of these PAC members showed up with their hearts full and ready to share with each other. And I want to give an opportunity for one other Georgia PAC member to share, because I wanted you to feel like this isn't we selected one member, but hopefully you'll hear the uniqueness of each of these parents' voices of what this book club was able to do for them. And with that, I'd like to introduce Colleen Puckett from Georgia to go ahead and share a little bit about her experience.
Hey everybody. I don't even know what to say now. Samantha and Aaron just totally took all the words out of my mouth. It was beautiful. So for me, I came into book club probably a little bit more hesitant than I probably should have been. You know, I was so focused on one trauma and one trauma only of mine, which was the removal of my kids and them being in foster care. And I thought that was the big trauma that I needed to process. And as I started to go through book club, I started to learn it's not just about that one big trauma. It's what else have I experienced throughout my life, and how has every single step through my life impacted how I am today and impact me as a parent. And for me, when I was first reading through this, it was not just how do I process my own trauma, but how do I process the trauma that my children have gone through. And then I decided to read it again because I found out that I was pregnant, and this just had this amazing, almost a parenting book in some sorts of like what I could be doing presently while I'm pregnant to impact my child in the most positive way that I possibly could. And so for me, like we all had moments that we would come into book club and just be emotional and just say, today is not my day, but I'm here. And by golly, the time that we would spend together and we would leave book club, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. We would all just be like, this is what we needed. We needed this time together. We needed this time to connect with others on a level that we don't get to on a day-to-day basis. For me, reading the book impacted me on how I interact with my children, my family, my friends, those who I walk through the grocery store and interact with. You know, how we handle traffic, how I just handle my patients differently, solely because of book club and reading this book. I've connected with the parents that I work alongside with in ways that I hadn't before. I have my own personal experience of walking my journey through my child welfare story, but my other parents, they have other traumas, they have other experiences. And this really gave me an open eye to of different ways that I can be able to connect with them and to be there for them. For me, book club became family. They are there forever. And just preparing for this, I went on to bed rest and I almost didn't want to join the prep meeting to get prepared for this. And I was just not in the mood, but I was like, you're going to do it. You're going to get on and be with these people. And I did. And I'm so thankful I did. They were there to support me through all my tears and get me where I am today and to just uplift me, which I really, really appreciate. And that's a connection I don't think we wouldn't have ever gotten to if we hadn't had this experience with one another. I would say if you're going to go into a book club and with this book, I would just say, be prepared for growth. Be prepared for amazing growth that you're going to experience. It's emotional, but it's a good emotion. You know, I always said when I hate unpacking when I come home from trips, I despise it. It is like the most stressful thing for me. But once I do it, I'm so excited. I'm so thankful. My room looks better. I feel better. I'm not living out of a suitcase. And to me, that's kind of like what it is to unpack our traumas. It's going to be tough. We're not going to want to do it. It's going to be annoying. It's going to be stressful. It's going to be dirty. But the moment that we finally get to that point where it is done and we are putting our suitcase away, it's the best feeling in the entire world. And so that would be my biggest advice, is just be prepared for that growth, be prepared for those emotional moments, but to know that when you're doing these book clubs, that you're surrounding yourself with people who are there for the same reasons that you are, for growth, for connection, for friendship. And so I just am so excited for this. And thank you, Chloe and Kara and Norma and everybody for putting in all of your love and effort. And Dr. Perry, thank you so much for putting this book together with Oprah. It's definitely has been life-changing. So thank you.
Thank you, Colleen. And I hope you also have been watching all of the emojis and all of the love being expressed. Wow, that was a lot, you all. And that was only a small sampling of what it was like to be in book club. So imagine what could be. But I would love to pass it to Dr. Perry. He wrote this amazing book. Dr. Perry, what are you thinking after you hear parents sharing in this way?
I have to say, I'm kind of tearing up a little bit. It's pretty powerful. So, you know, Colleen and Samantha, just pretty wonderful comments. Thank you so much. I hope that you are you recording this? I hope so, because you should take a little clip and we'll send this to Oprah. She would be very happy, because this was sort of the intention of the book. So thank you. Look at this. I'm gonna start crying here. Stop it. Stop it. Anyway, listen, as you were both speaking, one of the things that I realized is that this is kind of beyond the aspiration of the book, because we really never, at least I hadn't imagined people coming together and creating community in context of reading the book. And that's what you described. And since you have read the book, you know that that's what we mean about healing, right? Being in community is what heals people. And so you guys give very powerful testimonies to what we've been trying to help people understand is important and desperately needed in our society now. And so thank you for that. And I'm going to go cry by myself now. I can't believe it. I'm tearing up here. This is very emotional. Thank you.
Dr. Perry, we can relate a lot with how you are feeling, because that's a little of what Chloe and I experienced. We knew that there was impact just from how book club felt each night. But when we took the time to do an evaluation, which all of us know evaluation is important, we got to show impact, right, y'all? Georgia PAC members showed up loud and strong. We tortured them with a really long, lengthy evaluation. But we really wanted to capture impact in any and every way we possibly could, but they poured their hearts out. And we have that we can share with you all as well. But when we were looking at it, Chloe came so excited about, oh my gosh, you got to read this. And I can remember scrolling down, looking at the responses and literally crying. And what I would say is I want to elevate, there's a couple of you in the chat who said crying is good and crying's healthy. And it's important that we don't feel that we have to go cry alone, that we can cry in the space of each other and be there for each other. That's what book club gave to the Georgia PAC. That's what Chloe and I are really hoping that this book club guide will give to all of you, is you're going to have the opportunity to think about Erin's comments and words from her video. And you all, she found a way to pop in for minutes today. So I just want to give her a shout out in the chat, because she snuck in here for a few moments. But I want you to think about what Samantha said about the community, about taking it not just to the parents, not just to certain individuals, but really all of those who are interfacing with us every day. I want you to think about Colleen's comments that she shared about unpacking and what that really meant. What does that really include? And I want you to think about how Dr. Perry said to all of us, you know, I hope you recorded this so that you can share it all with Oprah. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you all. When this started, our little joke was that maybe one day we would get to talk to Dr. Perry and Oprah. Never in a million years did we think that Dr. Perry, you would be with us today on the official launch and release of this guide, being able to hear how it's impacted the lives of families. But you all, the ongoing joke throughout book club was, would we ever meet Oprah as well? Guess what? They did. And Oprah not only showed up, but showed up for a whole night of book club with the Georgia Pack. She also gave us tips and pointers on how to get the best space for when you do a selfie shot. So know that she's great at helping in that way as well. And you might say, well, Kara, like that's huge. How did you all achieve that? For starters, I have to say it's the way that the Children's Trust Fund Alliance believes in parent partnerships. They believe in it to the core, and they help support it to the core. And so we took a chance. We reached out to Oprah and to Dr. Perry. That's why he's here today. Oprah was able to join the Georgia Pack as a special guest. And not only was she able to hear from the parents, but she also was able to share with the Georgia Pack, just as Dr. Perry did with all of you today, about some of her thoughts about writing the book and some of the experiences she's had through her own life. She really acknowledged and validated the parents for the commitment to go ahead and pick up a book like this. And the PAC members were able to really thank Oprah for coming to that meeting and being a part of a really special, magical night. But what I have to tell you is that when I think back to the beginning of book club, this is a heavy book, you all. It's a lot to process. And it's one of those things that when we were thinking through, like, how do we even structure a book club with the PAC members? We wanted to recognize that parents lead busy lives, and some of those parents had small children and couldn't come to book club every week. And so we needed to make sure that we had questions that were approachable for those who might be going on this journey by themselves. In addition, we had to find ways to have questions that were at different levels, because while Colleen and Samantha shared about how they reread this book, you need to understand you can go through it at multiple different levels. You can do this kind of superficial read of, I'm going to read it and take away what I can from the book. But you also have the opportunity to do the transformative work that all of these parents have talked about. And then we also had to take into account the fact that everyone had to go back to their lives after book club. And so that's why we thought it was really important that at the end, not only did we close with some hope and some questions steering that way, but with resources, inspirational quotes, and takeaways that they could have to encourage them as they went about their week. All of this is available to you for free to download on the website. When Oprah came and talked to us about this idea of growing into a better version of ourselves, it made me think of the Birth Parent National Network. Every single person, organizational member, and stakeholder that is a part of this network is all about how do we make a better vision for children and families. That vision can only be possible when there's tools and resources for families to be able to talk about hard things like trauma and resiliency and what it is that we need as families to have the space to have these conversations. And not only with professionals, but with each other, with our sense of community. So I encourage each of you to think about how you can take this opportunity of this resource and use it in whatever way is right for you. This is a sample of one of the coloring pages that Dr. Perry was referring to. We took quotes and thoughts throughout the book and incorporated them into visuals that parents can color, children can color. This isn't something that is meant to be limited. It's supposed to be limitless. And as Oprah talks about with trauma, it really can become your power. It can be your strength. And we want you all to know that no matter what you've experienced in life, there's an opportunity for you to go through this book at a way that's right for you, that's hopefully comfortable for you, but hopefully also points you to strengths and hope and resiliency. And we really, truly hope that it is a blessing to not only you, but your communities, and that together we can keep these conversations going, especially knowing that we have Dr. Perry and Oprah helping us on this journey, and all of you as we share out these great resources, because that's what it's all about. So if there's questions about book club, Chloe is going to make sure the link to our brand new webpage. It has a webpage. That's so cool. It is on the website. It is launched. It is live. I have to give really huge kudos to Norma McReynolds on our team, who is our graphic artist, who has worked tirelessly to help take this vision to make it become a reality. And for the Georgia PAC members, I hope you see little pieces of your hearts woven throughout this guide, because Norma would hear from us, oh, the Georgia PAC shared this or said this, we got to incorporate it into a visual. We got to include this because this is what Georgia PAC said. I hope you all know that you have left a legacy and that this is hopefully going to be a very strong legacy. So Norma, thank you for your work on the guide. Georgia PAC, and to all of the leadership who helped to support this. And then most importantly, to Teresa with the Children's Trust Fund Alliance. Thank you for believing and starting a little thing called book club. And I really hope this little thing is now the little thing that has lots and lots of ripples. So please stay in touch, check out the guide. There is more to come. Norma has not tired herself out yet with this amazing guide. We're going to be continually updating that webpage with some additional ways that you can print out the guide in printer-friendly ways and in different unique ways. We know that sometimes printing can be a barrier. So we want to try to remove as many of those as we can and make this as accessible as we can to everyone. But you all, there's big things coming for 2022. And a big part of that is because we support parent partnership and parent leadership.